3 times the amount of verbiage that we had in the other 2 signs in the cemeteries. And as a result, the photographs were too small. It looked way too wordy, and I had to go back to the drawing board. I did a tremendous amount of editing with the help of Walter Smith and Jody Andrews, and I also eliminated some photographs, and I wanted it to be attractive from the street so that it would draw people off the sidewalk. And there are rather iconic photographs which we've chosen here that a lot of people don't realize that the Cranbury Ice House was right there on the banks. So I have a picture where I killed 2 birds with 1 stone, with both the boating and the ice house. And then the picture which we're all familiar with the mills, I think there's probably one out in the hallway here. I put that in sepia to give it a little bit of a bronze color because it's black and white. The WCTU fountain, I had a photograph of it which we took now, but Parks wanted me to try to get an older photograph, and the photograph which we found is a 1909 postcard that I found that was sent from one woman to another woman here in Cranbury, and that's the original fountain without the doggy thing in its original position with the original Brainerd Lakes on it. The bandstand photograph is a rather iconic photograph, which we all know, taken from the south side of the lake. I wanted the focal point of the sign to be George Washington. On all the history tours I've been giving, I've been very disturbed by people in Cranbury. I don't understand more about why Washington was here. It's sort of a logical I have. They think that he came over from the Battle of Princeton, and they don't realize chronologically where it fit in. So I wanted to do the main focal point of the sign being George Washington. So we boldened the print on that. Put in a little different type color at the top. To give it a little bit more pop, we give it a shaded area. Every single word on it has been approved and double checked by John Chambers.
And spell checked?
Everything
Before you memorialize it in the...
Everything's been spell checked. Everything's been wordsmithed to the nth degree, believe me, even to the point of tremendous discussions over hyphens. And the photograph, I wanted a photograph with a white horse. So I located this photograph done by an artist in 1792, John Trumbull, very famous American artist. And I found that photograph up at Yale, in the art gallery at the university. Executed rights of reservations document with them, and they gave me this digital copy of this painting of Washington. It's actually entitled Washington in Trent, but it has the white horse. He's in a fine pose there. The red line around it is the actual line that the sign will have. I wanted rounded corners like the other 2 that we have, just in case kids bump their heads. It's the exact same size, 44 by 26, as the signs at the cemeteries. It'll be at a 45-degree angle, a double metal aluminum powder-coated post. And unlike the other cemetery signs, which we put on a faint grass background, if you notice there's an image of grass coming through them. Parks thought that, and we agreed with them, that it might be more appropriate since this whole idea here was to memorialize the activities when the lake was the hub of activity in this town, when all the action was done at the lake, that it might be more appropriate to have a water background. So we were able, through the Canadians that built this sign, to get a faint lake water, rippling water background. We think this spot that's just absolutely perfect for it right now, where there is what we feel is a rather inappropriate little sign on the ground that says bank plantings donated by. And no one knows what a bank planting even is. My wife thought it had to do with the bank. And sometimes it must have had to do with plantings along the bank. But that, I'm told Tom White from Park that bank planting sign, it's a little stone thing with that could go right into a beautiful bed right behind us. And the walkway is already built. A little rim of bushes, of shrubs is already there. It's just sitting there waiting for this sign. If I can get people to agree to that when the time comes, if we can, with chips. But we're really, really happy with the sign. We hope you guys are happy with the sign. Parks is happy with the sign. We jumped through every hoop they asked us to with regard to changing things and editing things. We think it'll be a big, big improvement in that area and draw people off the street and teach them a little bit about the incredible history of all the activities that took place right in that area. So, I don't know if you have any questions.
I just have one comment, and this is just for the FYI. I actually have a photograph of the dedication of the WCTU fountain. I don't know if we want to get that granular, but just offer it to if you want.
Well, we have, if this is a 1909 picture that incorporates the 1907 thing and the 1905, the original 1905 sign. We've gone through our budget. We probably exceeded the budget because we were limited in what our graphic design allowances in Canada, and because of the
Blame it on the Canadians, right?
blame it on the Canadians, but, I'll tell you, the other two signs we built are on private property, and this has been a much more laborious experience based on the drawings they're putting on public property. And there's just a number of people that chime in on it.
I think it's a great sign. I like the content. I like to be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the sign is beautiful. I really like it. I like the photographs in it. Sorry.
JD,
No, that was the University of Delaware seeking another donation. They called every night at this time. The only thing I was going to say is, in looking at this, and this is just me personally, if the sign is to commemorate the lake activities and whatnot, it seems the focal point is really on George Washington. And my own personal view would be that George Washington may be more appropriate as one of the smaller things and add more of the lake activity on the sign, because the idea of the sign is what happened in the lake and the heritage of the lake, and just because there's a lot on George Washington here.
Well, let me just explain that. The actual purpose of one of the primary purposes of the sign was to get the George Washington scenario out to the public in a way that they could easily appreciate in this sign. We felt that it's the most important aspect from the Historical Society's point of view. It's the most important aspect of this sign, is to educate the population here in Cranbury about why Washington was here, who he was here with, what he did while he was here, and when he left. We felt that it was appropriate to put it into the lake area sign because of the fact that we've always had the encampment sign right down in that exact spot. So, considering the fact that we believe that Washington and Washington's troops would have utilized that lake area extensively on that June day, considering the heat and how tired they were, that they would have been all over Cranbury Brook that day. We felt that it was not only appropriate because of the encampment sign to have the George Washington in the sign, but we've always wanted Washington to be the focal point of the sign, because although it's cute for people to see an ice house and the mills and learn about a little bit about what that fountain's doing there. And the band, remember, Goodwin's band used to play there and that. We're a historical society, and we did want to educate the Cranbury population about Washington and straighten it out for them so they'll understand exactly why he was here. So we made it the focal point of the sign. We emboldened it a little, and that was our rationale.
Yeah, and I'm just taking feedback that I've heard from others that are members of the society when I say this, because I did make some phone calls around asking, what the viewpoint was before tonight's meeting.
People, who's doing that?
I
Okay.
can't get names out.
No one has, only about 3 people have ever seen this. We've been 12 on it.
So, well, I'll give one name out. I'll give one name out because I don't think he would mind me giving, knowing him personally. I mean, my Uncle Roy, the Historical Society, the History Center, thought that there should be more about the lake area and less about George Washington. Not that George Washington is not important, and George Washington has a place here, but since it's a Cranbury Historical Society in Cranbury, that there should be more about Cranbury and that lake area as opposed to just the focus being George Washington.
Our feeling is we don't have enough money to put out a separate sign for George Washington. We don't have another $2,000 for a 44 by 26 incredible expose about why Washington was here. Pictures of Lafayette, pictures of Alexander Hamilton. So, considering the fact that we wanted the Washington aspect of it, and Roy wasn't involved in it, said he has to come on the committee to be part of the group that planned this. He's not on our board. It was our intention all along, when we came up with this, that the primary focus of this sign was to educate the people about Washington and also all the wonderful activities that took place, and try to put it all on one sign so we could have one large sign built for the $2,000 budget that we allowed.
So to be clear, right now, the board of the Historical Preservation Society endorses this design.
Yes.
And Parks endorses it as well.
Well, Parks sent you a letter.
You know, but I'm just saying verbally out loud, that's so everybody is on board.
I've been to Parks so many times.
Yeah.
And had them, and I've taken all their feedback, and I've gone back, putting commas in, and putting hyphens in. And then when their last thing, they wanted a couple little things worded differently, and then they wanted it put on a blue background. So I went up to Canada, to Canadians, and I said, you gotta find me a lake. I don't want, I don't want to have an ocean scene. I don't want lighthouses on it. It has to look like a lake.
Yeah.
And they found it nutted. They got it perfect here. And I don't know. I mean, Audrey Smith, we're really, really happy with the sign.
So I was just talking it through for you. It sounds like we have the endorsement of the board. So it sounds like it'd be their internal thing if they want to change it at that point. That would be my thing. Yeah.
Yes, that's fine. I mean,
They've already worked it out.
yeah, I'm okay with this. I mean, but I think before it's all agreed on, just one more vetting, adding, would be good for me.
Yeah, that's on them.
That's
One thing too I'd like to say is I like the idea of reduction of need for additional signs, so I appreciate the idea of incorporating more into one sign as opposed to having multiple, frankly.
Yep.
Yeah. And you have to understand that we are a historical society, and George Washington has been a main part of our walking tours and my education, but the 4th graders and the 8th graders personally. It was very important to us that working with, especially with John Chandler's book, that it was very important that we let people walking by, visitors in town, have an appreciation of the incredible weekend in 1778, and the men that were here that day, the significant historic figures that were walking around that day, and we thought it was really important that that be in this sign.
And ultimately how important that battle was. I mean, it's, when things Yeah.
just carrying forward comments.
Understood. So just to be clear, the location you propose, we're not picking the location, but the location you propose, I just want to know where, so I can go look in the park. The one you were recommending is where that sign is, that says bank.
If you walk over the bridge, immediately you're right, before you ever get to the brand new Civil War monument.
Right.
You'll see some flagstones walking out to a beautifully little landscape, little
Yeah.
semicircle.
Yep.
And in that semicircle, there's this little block of granite that's only this high off the ground. And it has a little thing, it says bank plantings,
Gotcha.
sponsored by so-and-so. And it doesn't, to us, it doesn't seem to have the import. Who don't even knows what a bank planting is or where. Most of those plantings are probably, if they're talking about something that's along the bank of the stream now, it's probably gonna get wiped out anyway. So, we would love to have that spot and then move bank planting sign into a beautiful bed right behind it, that's in trees, that's all landscaped as well.
Okay. I'll take a look at it, I just want to know exactly where, thank you.
I may be taking Glenn down there, I'm taking Don Wagner down there,
I think so, yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Don, this is a lot of work, and it came out good.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you.
I really do congratulate you on the amount of work and effort that went into this. I mean, this is fantastic.
We're real happy with it, we're glad to do this. The last little issue was, I don't know when the decision can be made that, for instance, if you like that spot, we're gonna go, if you approve this, and I don't know what your procedure is now, to let us, the Canadians have invited me for 4 months now, when are we gonna be able to get this sign constructed and done? We've given them 50% of their money. They're waiting for the other 50%. They want to get this off their plate. Even if we have to store this just in the basement of the museum for months and months, we'll do that, but we want to get this thing paid for and in. I guess that as soon as we find out, if you like that spot that we like, I don't know how quickly a determination can be made that we're not going to be running backhoes over, the soldiers' graves or whatever. There's memorials there. It's not going to involve things like that. It's going to be out posted in the street, but we're not going to be knocking over signs with backhoes. And I guess we'd like to get this up so that people can see it as soon as possible. I always hoped that it would have been up and running before the summer, but then,
Yeah, that's the
I
thing.
know.
They won't break ground till October, we got probably 10 months on that, they won't introduce anything
I
prior.
know.
Gene, what do we need, to make it a roll call vote, or just to
Approve the
indicate our
content,
approval?
approve the content.
But we're
Have a motion to
Just
accept the sign
content.
as is?
The content of the sign.
But no location.
Yeah, written receipt.
Well, not only content, but the visual production. Right? What you're looking
Not just
at,
the text, but-
what you're looking at is the sign.
Yeah.
This is
Right.
a digital image of what it would come back exactly like that. The only thing that would come to us before we buy it, for the last payment, they're gonna send me a 20-inch by 20-inch, a little color check of the actual little section of it, so that we can see that the blue is not too blue and it's ready to roll and
Good proof, right?
yeah, a little proof. But that's it. Then they go ahead and they ship this thing, which comes in hundreds of pounds of crates. It's a big deal. It's very heavy. You've only seen it installed. You have no idea how heavy that laminate is, how compressed that material is to be as durable as it is with this digital image that's infused into it.
Very good.
So if you want, I'll make a motion.
To
So
affirm the design that's been presented to us.
approved design is presented to us with location to be determined at some future date, post the Rayner Lake Dam construction. That's my motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Getz is absent. Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
And Mayor,
Yes.
we have 4 yeas and 1 absent.
Dean?
Yeah. Is there evidence that George Washington was in town here?
Oh my, it's all kinds of diaries. he was here for many hours. He came in at 9 o'clock on a Friday morning.
What is the evidence?
Well, you know, you'd have to check with John Chambers and read the entire book called George Washington in Cranbury, and you'll see all of his footnotes.
I did a timeline on George Washington, Lafayette,
And Hamilton.
and Hamilton. And all three were not here at the same time.
No, they weren't. And that's pointed out on the sign.
And the sign that's on that house on Main Street
It's
is
wrong.
wrong.
Oh, it's wrong.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
wrong.
I know.
And because I did this when we had the Battle of Monmouth, bicentennial, or whatever the thing was, and
But we-
Benny Wagner had asked me to do it.
See, we clarified all that on the sign that Hamilton and Lafayette were gone before Washington and about 3 hours later.
So
Okay.
he stated.
Don, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Don.
Appreciate it.
While we're on the subject of history and whatnot, we have one thing that Audrey Smith asked about. That PNC Bank currently has a beautiful old grandfather's clock that was in the original PNC Bank. It was donated, I guess, by the original family of the first Cranbury Bank. And that the museum, because of the size, is not sure that they have room to house the clock. And PNC Bank would like to donate it to the town. Audrey Smith has asked if Town Hall would take it, maybe have it in the hall here, or somewhere in the Town Hall building if the museum cannot house it. And I asked Kathy, she said we needed to have an agreement for the Township Committee that would be willing to take the clock, otherwise PNC would just sell it off to someone.
Does it shine and stuff too? I mean,
Oh,
is it
it's fully
full on?
functional, fully functional, it's from the mid-1800s, it's,
Yeah.
What she needs is office.
yeah, I was gonna say, it shines.
The grandfather's clock should not be put in the hall, shouldn't be put in a high-traffic area.
Yeah.
It needs a stable place,
Yeah.
usually in the corner of a room that sees minimal vibration, it has to be absolute level, because in that way, the clock sees a very passive environment. It doesn't want to see vibration, it doesn't want to see any of that stuff. So if any place, a good place you could put
Yeah,
it.
in a corner.
Right there?
As long as it's not shining through the meetings, I
Well, you
assume,
can
right?
turn the time off.
Okay.
Yeah, the trying to
If you
show
want.
it.
Yeah.
It'll be dramatic.
That's a good point.
That's-
As long as we can take it in and not just have
It's
PNC.
all
The big problem is moving.
I think Audrey Smith said that the Historical Society could arrange for the movers for it.
Great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I think it's a good idea.
Because I would hate to see part of that history, and something that's over 100 years old, just go.
Be a part of saying that, of course.
So, Denise, if you can just work with Audrey on what she does.
Does anybody have anything from the consent agenda they want to handle separately?
Oh,
Consent agenda, item B. The reason why I'm mentioning it is because you never asked for public comment from the list of the agenda.
Okay, before we do the consent agenda, let's open the public.
Item B, on the consent agenda, I'd like that to be explained.
The
They,
anti-mat resolution for anti-mat?
Yeah.
The,
how long do you have?
yeah.
I'm here.
Legally, if we've used a contractor for other work, because they were the lowest bidder, and then they either defaulted on their contract, or they didn't make good on the quality of work, and we don't want them to be able to bid on any further work, we need to do a resolution disqualifying them. And so that's what we're
What
doing.
work did they do?
Planting
do
of
so for-
trees,
For what?
planting of trees. And since we are now going to round 3, as you can see from the consent agenda, we got another $90,000 from the No Net Loss Reforestation. We're gonna have to put that out to bid. We do not want Anti-Mac to be able to bid on it. So we're disqualifying that. And it's only for a certain period of time. You can only do it for, I think it's 5 years. That's the maximum you can
Can we get
disqualify.
involved with litigation as a result of this?
We will.
We will.
Under a disqualification or because we're going after the trees?
No, because we're going after
Yeah.
those trees.
Yeah, that's really what it
Oh,
comes down to.
not because of
No,
this.
No,
That's what I meant.
So,
No, they were given an opportunity to have a hearing to bring forth any information that they had, and they did not schedule a hearing with us, so we're moving forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else from the public? Close the public portion.
Well, no,
Oh,
okay. We still have the public section, the regular public section afterwards.
Okay, this is just on the resolution.
Yes.
all right, we'll close the public portion. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Getz is absent. Mr. Mulligan?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
And Mayor Johnson?
Yes.
4 yeas, 1 absent.
Committee reports from township boards and commissions. Township staff.
Two things, I'm sure you saw no parking signs and cones on Main Streets. That was for tree trimming, so when Jerry is going to have the tree trimming company come out and have to prune or remove trees, he will put cones and signs out so that there's no cars in the way when the contractor does the work. So if you see that again, that's what it's for the tree trimming. The second thing is the August meeting. Are we having a second one or no? Because we put on our calendar that we were not going to, but if we're going to, then we have to open these papers now.
Where do you think we're going to meet the second time, July?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't,
Is there any particular need?
I don't know, maybe,
Susan
I
will
could
be
make
there,
it if you
believe.
need that.
when is it?
August, let's say the 12th, so August 26th.
I'm probably not gonna be here.
And Susan won't be here either.
You know, as soon as we cancel something, but yeah, no, it's fine, we don't need it, yeah.
Okay.
One thing I want to mention too, that you said, saw that the sidewalks are replaced on Scott and Maplewood and all, that's good stuff. I mean, I guess it's the last remnants from Sandy, I guess.
From Sandy, where the trees uprooted the sidewalks, we agreed to replace those few spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had them out there. Actually, the one on Maplewood though, the homeowners already contracted someone to, I guess, to put pavers.
Neighbors, yeah.
So we didn't have to do that one at all.
Right.
That's quite a production too, if anyone wants to see
It
that.
really is. I said, are they doing sidewalks? But I guess they are. I see the pavers out there. It's pretty deep what they dug out there.
Yeah, the
Second
lights.
time of absence?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful work with it. They're doing.
Yeah.
That's what I wanna do someday.
Also, for the record, since we're being recorded, just wanted to point out that traditionally, there was never a second meeting for many years in August or July. We put it on the calendar the last few years, you know, in case we did need it, so, and we don't need it this year, just for the record.
You just had one question, about the tree trimming. They took a tree down in front of my neighbor's house, and they ground the stump, and then they raked all of the sawdust up onto where the stump used to be, and they left it. Now, does Jerry now come along and take that away, or, because it's going to scatter all over the sidewalk and the street? if it's
Yeah,
left the way it
I
is.
don't know. I'll ask them.
All right. Jean, do you have anything?
I do not. Thank you.
We'll open for public comment.
Mr. Claus, 33 Hackery Lane. A while ago, you passed a property maintenance ordinance. And I didn't support it, but since it's passed, I'd like to understand a little bit how it's being enforced. Do we have records on how that has been enforced?
Yeah, I can speak to this. When a complaint is filed, the Public Works Director goes out and investigates. And if in fact a violation has occurred, he issues a violation, and then, corrective action has to be taken.
Okay, so it's based upon some citizen making a complaint.
Yes.
And there has been complaints registered?
Has been one.
There's been one.
There's been other, there's been several other inquiries.
There have been inquiries,
Yes.
but the formal procedure is now, it must be in writing. Jerry must have a contact name and number, cannot be anonymous. So it has to be done in writing. And so we had one complaint in writing. Jerry did go out, check, Yes.
Yes.
How much did we spend on this ordinance for one complaint?
Well, but Dee, you gotta realize this year, there's people taking action this year on their properties that weren't doing it a year ago. Because I'm a firm believer, they understand that we have something in place that we can now enforce. Where in the past, we'd send a little letter asking them nicely, and they would just thumb their nose at us. And I can pick a number of spots out on Old Trenton Road where I see things a lot better than they used to be in Castle, like on sidewalks.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. So it was a little bit rich as far as where we could go.
Fair enough.
Budget calendar, 10 River Drive, I have a couple of items, but I just want to extend what Dee said. You effectively said that unless a citizen, private citizen makes a complaint, no action is taken. So that means if Jerry sees a violation, or you see a violation, or any township member, police officer, any official or person working in the town sees a violation, which is obvious, nothing happens. Only if a private citizen makes a complaint in writing and puts his name on the record does this law take effect. Is that true?
It's essentially true. I assume we could also file complaints if we wish.
But you don't. So in effect, what's happening is, and I mentioned this to you when you and I had this discussion, Mayor, that people who work for the town in any capacity are violating fiduciary responsibility when they see a violation. I want to know why it should be mandated that a private citizen has to make a written complaint. If somebody puts the brush out and Jerry sees it, Jerry will most likely, I think, write him up. And you've even asked, I believe, the police to take over some of those responsibilities. Same thing with the violation of snow, not shoveling the sidewalks. I don't know who's going to be the person that's going to be writing the violations. Why don't we have a consistent set of rules here that say that when a violation exists and a township official, no matter what their capacity or township employee sees it, why isn't that thing written up? I want to know why a private person has to do it.
How do you know they see it though, right? 'Cause
Oh,
they're-
come on.
Richard, let me just
Well,
finish.
if they don't see it, then they shouldn't be driving because they
So let
can't
me
be
finish-
as blind
Let
as
me
that.
finish my statement, okay? So the point, Richard, is, right, you can drive down the road and you can pull over and I can take out my notebook and I can look around the whole town and I can come back with a huge list of violations if I wanted to. I really could. But that's not how life works, right? So ideally, what ends up happening typically with almost every ordinance that we have, that's some type of, enforceability other than what the police do, it's typically a resident calls up and says, why is the brush too close to the road? Why is this that way? We get calls, and then enforcement happens. And it's not any one particular part of our code. We don't have all of our employees constantly out policing the town looking to enforce codes. Obviously, if they see something egregious, they're going to report it, I'm sure.
Well, how egregious, that's pretty subjective.
I don't know. Again, yeah, it is subjective. That's the reality of it.
Well, I was against this ordinance in the first place because I felt that it was all generated as a result of a bunch of malcontents complaining about one violation, like the Cheney property, or whatever they call the property. And suddenly, a lot of people complained, and it was passed, and suddenly the mayor gets nailed. It sounds kind of funny, doesn't it? Okay. It looks like what I said, I made my point, and I hope it means something. Okay, let me just start my
But
list.
Richard, I just have to ask you, but you want all laws, right? You want everything enforced. So you want our employees enforcing all laws in town at all times, stopping and looking for all the lies.
No, but when something is, when I happen to know that the head of the public utilities, he drives around in the township pickup truck, looking for different things, how well his people have done work. He's not out. But if he sees something, okay, and it's an obvious violation, I think it's his responsibility to go ahead and write it up and not depend upon some private citizen to make the complaint. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying go looking for it, but if it's obvious, and believe me, we'll all agree that there are certain things obvious that are ignored and only waiting for somebody to make the official complaint. Private citizen doesn't want to put his name on there because now he's the bad guy.
Right,
But it doesn't have to be only a private citizen.
Right.
But in effect, that's what it's coming out to be. Come on, let's be truthful about this thing.
But just don't focus on one ordinance, is all I'm saying. There's a lot of ordinances, Richard. Let's not focus on one, that's all I'm asking.
Well, I'm just familiar with the two obvious ones happen to be the brush ordinance and the property maintenance ordinance.
And
Those are the two.
And there's dog leashes, there's people on fields where you need permits. You know, I could go on and on and on, that there's a host of things that constantly we can have our people worrying about running around.
No, I'm not asking for that. I'm just saying that there are certain things that are obvious. That's all.
Okay.
That's all. Okay. I have a couple of items here. Stop sign on Schoolhouse Lane has changed. Won't this prevent school buses from turning into Schoolhouse Lane coming from the north? You used to have a double stop sign. You had a double, normally at non-school hours, you went up to the actual stop sign.
Right.
But you also had another stop mark further back such that people knew during school hours. Stop back there so the buses could turn. That was never implemented when they repaved the road.
That was not striped.
Well, there's a stop further back.
No, there isn't, not since they
Go away
repaved
in the
it.
corner.
There's one at the extreme end of the road, right?
Right.
We,
Where the original
Go away
stop
in the corner
is,
stop
but the
is
new one that
not
they added
back.
a few years ago is in
it's not there, right?
All right, so
I don't think it was painted when they repaved.
They didn't paint a crosswalk.
No, I'm
No,
talking
no,
about the
no, no.
sidewalk.
can you just talk, actually, I think you're.
The stop line by the Methodist
The
Church.
stop line by the
Yeah,
Methodist
it's
Church.
supposed to be
It's
20
not
feet
further
back.
back.
It was there.
Buses could make the turn.
Further back.
I'm a betting man.
I don't know.
I don't know, but Richard has an eye for detail, but I'm not gonna argue.
I'm not a detailed person. Believe me, it's not
You
there.
are.
It's not there.
I believe it, I just didn't realize it, I've driven by it.
If that was not restriped, and it was a school job, that would be kind of ironic.
Well, it's a school job. We can talk to Joyce about it.
My
That's
point is,
why.
I just read
Yeah.
out facts.
No, I mean, I
Just talk to,
yeah,
just talk to
I
us, see if there's a reason why.
Okay, second item. At the intersection of Ansel Davidson Road and Cranbury Neck Road, the high corn makes that intersection very dangerous. Very dangerous. You really gotta stick your nose out to see traffic, coming from either direction. I don't know what can be done about it. I would have thought that there would have been a view easement at those corners. There are a lot of intersections where, you put in developments and all that. But that is dangerous.
Yeah, I have no idea, I mean, agriculture has their own
Yeah.
rules.
We can ask.
We can ask the question.
Which one, Ansel, which one?
Answer the Cranbury Neck Road, because I've noticed that too.
That's a good point. We can ask, yeah.
Because I come down there typically, and I don't like to, stick my nose out.
Does
I'm
not-
trying to avoid Ansel Davidson now that that traffic light is there, because whenever I go on Ansel Davidson, it's at rush hour.
No, I'm talking about the one, I'm sorry, I'm talking about the one that comes along the swim club. Is that the answer?
Yeah.
That's Ansel.
Yeah, but if you go the opposite way, you can never make that left-hand turn now.
Jenny, does Donnie from that?
I don't know who farms it.
Might be in Barnes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Third item. Does township hall set back the temperature during periods when the town hall is not occupied? I had to come in here yesterday for an emergency on the clock. Somehow, weight got wound up too far. It took three of us to correct the situation. And this was like Sunday, yesterday, at about 2 o'clock. It was cold up there. I mean, we really need to cool this place down when it's not occupied?
The thermostats don't work right. They don't.
Well, let's fix them then.
We have tried. We have had the heating and air conditioning people in here since we put this system in. How hot is it in here now? It's completely on cold. All the vents are open. No air is coming out. You'll come back here later tonight, and for some reason, it could be 50 degrees in here.
Yeah, I
The
was.
thermostat only has hot and cool on there, and it doesn't matter what you do to it.
Yeah, I met with, when we had the leak in the Boy Scout room, it affected the radiator system, and the guy was here from Titan Mechanical, and he and I were talking, and he said, this is the, yeah, I can't go on record for what he said, but I will just say that I would not build my house the way that we did town hall.
So you're saying that it's because it's a bad system and nothing works, we're gonna just leave the status quo, is that what I'm hearing?
Short of
Well,
bringing
I
a
mean, the
whole system,
alternative
I
is
don't know what
redoing
to
it.
do.
Well, I'm not saying you do that. Somebody has to be knowledgeable enough that they can come in here and say, this is the problem, this is what it'll cost to fix. That's all I'm saying. I mean, you just can't.
Oh, well, no, they've tried multiple patches and fixes over the
Titan's
years.
got other consultants to come in here and look at the computer system downstairs. They don't know what to do with it. Oh, well, try to reprogram this, try to reprogram that. I hear complaints every other day from different offices in here about the heating and air conditioning. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I was down there with the head of, or not Greg, I was down there with Rob one day, and Rob was going over how inefficient this,
Who is this person?
Rob, he's the assistant construction official. And,
Have we called in a place like Princeton Air?
oh yeah, Titan,
Titan, that's what they are.
Titan is the company that takes care of the building, yes, and they've brought in other consultants. And never should, the system that we're using never should have been done this way when town hall was renovated, is what it comes down to. Just like many things.
So nothing can be done.
And go look at the thermostat, it has no degrees on it, it's just cool and hot. And even if you put it in the middle, it doesn't change it. I
And you
know.
can't, it's not like you can go to Home Depot and buy a new thermostat like I did at home and, put it up there and put 78 degrees because it doesn't feed into the system.
I've tried, I even said, I don't care if people complain it's too hot or too cold. Put everything on the same temperature and let's see what happens.
Well,
It
first
doesn't
thing,
work.
in my house, I happen to have two thermostats, two furnaces, one for upstairs, one for downstairs. Basically, where's the thermostat?
There's a thermostat right back
And
there.
that's supposed to govern the temperature both upstairs and downstairs?
No, there's thermostats in each room.
And none of them work.
Because of the way the system is set up.
I think it's worth looking into, I think we can
If you
revisit
really
that,
want
but we have to,
If
first
you
of
really
all,
want a day of frustration,
well, Jay, let me just finish for a
I'm
moment.
sorry.
I think the issue is it was retrofitted incorrectly. There are issues with the thermostats, having multiple in various rooms, like in any house, it's a problem. I think it's gonna take a lot of money to remedy it in a way.
And they have a certain
cost-
payback, but if they
Right.
go ahead and pay us,
Right.
let's say it takes us 10 years to get this whole.
Right, but it's cause and effect. If in fact the fix is less than it would bring us back in savings over time, I think we have to look at it that way, but it's a big upfront retrofit for the existing system.
But we've never gotten a firm estimate of what it takes to fix the system.
Not fix, but retrofit it, not that much as far as take it all out.
No, I'm saying, whatever it takes to fix, have we ever gotten a firm dollar fix cost?
We
On
don't.
whatever it costs to fix the system?
It sounds like they haven't really figured out how to fix it yet. So,
They keep saying we need
it
a
sounds like
new
we need a root
system.
cause analysis. I think the reality, Richard, is, I think this is a known issue. It's something that it'll get worked on. It just might not be issue number one right now.
Okay. Well, no, okay. Last item.